What is up, Sopranos fans? Kino here, and we are back with another day of Sopranos Timber. Today we're looking at the 14th episode of Season 6, Stage 5. And I love that title because it has multiple meanings when it comes to this episode. Now, Christopher's movie Cleaver has finished production. Honestly, the movie looks really bad, even from their perspective. But they're happy with it nonetheless, and they're excited to finally get it out there and start making money. Now, Chris invites everyone to the premiere of the film, and while giving a speech, thanking everyone who was involved, he skips over the writer J.T. Dolan and instead thanks Tony for all his help in financing the film. However, when people see the movie, they notice similarities between the boss character and Tony. Both of them wear bathrobes, they talk in the basement, they yell at people and have a temper. And particularly, there's a scene where the boss has sex with the main character's fiancée. Now, of course, this makes everyone think of the rumor that happened between Tony and Adriana. And they're thinking that Christopher put this in there intentionally as kind of a revenge fantasy to kill Tony in the film. Carmela is particularly offended by it because, again, she doesn't like having her nose rubbed in the fact that Tony sleeps with other women. Now, worried about what Tony might think, Christopher goes to JT and says that he has to take credit for the idea so that Tony doesn't blame Christopher. JT refuses because he's tired of being pushed around by Christopher like this, but Chris smacks him with one of his awards and threatens him and basically tells him to do it. Now, JT goes to the Bing and he tells the guys about how he came up with the idea. He actually has this really great cover story where he talks about another film where he stole the idea from. But Tony can see through this, and he realizes that it really was Christopher after all, and Chris forced JT to tell him this. Later on at Melfi's office, he laments the fact that Christopher hates him, especially since when they were so young, they got along really well. But over time, Christopher has come to see Tony as this asshole bully. Later on, he's part of Christopher's daughter's baptism, and even though it's a nice moment and they hug, we can see that there's no love between them anymore. Any bond that was between them has been severed a long time ago, and there really isn't any hope anymore for their relationship. Meanwhile, John is serving his prison sentence in Missouri, and if that wasn't bad enough, he's been diagnosed with stage 4 lung cancer, which is terminal, and he's been given 3 months to live. The title refers to the fact that there is no stage 5 when it comes to cancer, and it also refers to the 5 stages of grief, the final stage being acceptance. In the prison hospital, he meets a prisoner who used to be a doctor, and it's really funny because the doctor casually brings up the fact that he murdered his wife and 2 other people when he caught her cheating. But the doctor says that he might have longer than he originally thought. He thinks John will last longer, maybe even a year or more, which makes John pretty happy to hear that news. However, John declines even further, and they realize that no, the diagnosis was right, and he's actually going to die very shortly. He eventually does die in the prison hospital, surrounded by his wife and daughters, which, while a sad death to die in prison like that, at least he died around his family, which is something. With John dead, there's a leadership void in the Lupertazzi family. Now, Phil is the natural successor to take over. He was previously serving as acting boss, but after his heart attack, he decides to back down and let someone else claim the title. Now, he supports his protege, Jerry Torchiano, which is a little weird because Jerry was only recently made at the beginning of this season. So it's weird that he would rise to a position where he would be a contender for boss against more experienced gangsters. However, before he can assume the title, Jerry is whacked while having dinner with Silvio, and it's ordered by Doc Santoro, another contender for the throne. Tony's really disturbed by this outcome, and he meets with little Carmine and asks him to take over as boss. He wants someone in leadership that he can actually rely on and work with. Now, I talked about this scene in my little Carmine video and what it could potentially mean, but I'm going to talk about it again here because it's one of my favorite scenes throughout the series. Little Carmine has a dream where he realizes that being boss isn't what's most important in life. It's not the material things. he learns that being happy is what's most important. And the crown, which he talks about as one of those paper crowns from Burger King, really doesn't mean anything. It's ultimately a meaningless position. And I love this scene so much because it reveals to us that little Carmine is a lot smarter than he seems. He's realized that the rat race is not all that it's cracked up to be, and he makes the wise decision to get out of the game. Of course, some people don't think that he did, and some people think that he was secretly manipulating events throughout the series. If you guys seen that video, you know where I fall on that topic. But still, I really love this scene, and I love how it brings something to Tony's attention that he never even considered before this. At the end of the episode, though, Phil celebrates his late brother's birthday with his family, and he tells them the story about how their family name used to be Leonardo, but it was changed on Ellis Island. And he laments the fact that throughout his history, he's continually compromised in his life. He did 20 years in prison, never made a peep, and ultimately all it did was empower other, more crooked individuals like Doc Santoro to assume power, rather than being something that benefited him. So he vows to Butchie at the end of the episode that he's not going to roll over anymore, and he's going to start taking charge in his life. So we can see a change in Phil moving forward, where he's going to be a lot more aggressive in pursuing what he wants. But that is the episode Stage 5, a really good episode in my opinion, one of the stronger ones of Season 6. And thank you guys so much for watching, and stay tuned for the next episode, coming tomorrow. Hey patrons, you don't mind if I take a little food off your plates, do you? Hunter, Tommy Smith, Abdallah Alamari, Russell, Sean, Graham, Rooftop, Rico Bellic, Heart of Markness, Broccoli, Isaiah, Placenta Juan, Logan, Clean, John Reyna, Lance Klump, Jesse Sterling, Andrew Stewart, James, Conchok Choful, Obscuracing Media, Daz J. Kit, William Lanson, Conan Higgins, and Elizabeth Ellis.